Welcome to this week's edition of Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Chi-Chen Lo. For the past few weeks, Taiwan's relations with the United States and its relations with China seems to be strained as a result of Taiwan's recent efforts to join the United Nations under the name of Taiwan. Are they overreacting to Taiwan's recent efforts? How should we read Taiwan's UN bid? This is a topic we're going to talk about today. And our guest today is the chairperson of the Research and Planning Committee of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Taiwan, Dr.颜建发. Dr. Yan, welcome to our program.
Professor Lo, my dear friends.
Could you tell us what is the how new and how innovative of this year's UN approach?
I think the most striking feature of this event is that we use Taiwan as a name to apply for the UN membership. Mm-hmm. In the past, we don't use it. We know that Taiwan was expelled from the UN in 1971. After that, Taiwan has been isolated from the international community, especially UN. So that we suffer a lot because we did not attend any important international organization. But after 1993, as we know that President Lee adopted a flexible strategy toward international organization. And since then, we try to urge our diplomatic aides to help us to propose to the UN to mm-hmm. discuss about Taiwan's participation in the UN. Mm-hmm. Of course, that is a flexible approach, and we hope that international community can look at Taiwan's 23 millions livelihood on this island. But as we know that after 14 years, and we lost a lot of energies and time, mm-hmm. then there's no progress. Yeah. So this year, I believe that President Chen, this is a last term for him, and so he had a strong responsibility and mission to try another strategy mm-hmm. to enter the UN. So mm-hmm. we use Taiwan as a name. Yeah. But of course, Taiwan is only a name for the UN membership. It has nothing to do with the changing the national name.
But some countries react by saying that Taiwan is not trying to change the name of official name of this country. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's a correct assessment of what's really going on in Taiwan?
I think it is very clear that it has nothing to do with the national name, mm-hmm. Because it has to pass the constitutional procedure mm-hmm. or legislative procedure to change the national name, mm-hmm. and we just want to use a name. As a matter of fact, many countries in the UN do not use the national name to be the membership.
That's right.
And we also have many occasions in the international organization, such as APEC or WTO, but we don't use mm-hmm. Republic of China.
That's right.
So actually, Taiwan is only the name.
Yeah. In addition to use the name of Taiwan to join the United Nations this year, as we know that this year also adopted a very bold approach by applying for the membership directly. As you said earlier, that in the past, Taiwan only mobilized the allies to initial proposals, trying to bring Taiwan into the UN membership or UN family, mm-hmm. without mentioning what Taiwan really wanted. Mm-hmm. So, why do you choose this approach this year?
I think, as a matter of fact, for a long time we didn't attend the UN, mm-hmm. and Taiwan survived well. Yeah. So somebody would say that. We don't need to enter the UN and Taiwan can survive well. Yeah. But the problem is after the outbreak of SARS in year 2003, we Taiwanese people feel that it's too risky not to enter the WHO, the World Health Organization. Mm-hmm. But the problem is the precondition to enter the World Health Organization is you must be a member of the UN.
That's right.
This is why we think this is the most fundamental solution for Taiwan to enter any organization.
Yeah.
And so I think this is not only a moral issue, but also a very practical and realistic issue for Taiwan.
Yeah. But another issue that people have been talking about is the timing of this new approach. President Chen has been in office for over 7 years. And now before he leaves his office, now he decided to use a different approach. Is that something to do with the so-called elections in Taiwan?
Of course, I think election is very important in Taiwan's politics, also in many democratic countries. But I think there are some distortions because since President Lee inaugurated in year 2000, President Lee has promised to let Taiwan be visualized or be seen in the international organization or international occasion. So this is one of the projects. But of course, when the DPP government tried to put forth this proposal or this kind of proposal, but we know that there was very strong internal pressure from the opposition party,
That's right.
KMT and the PFP. And even we tried to propose the referendum to enter the UN, but at the beginning the KMT did not agree with that.
That's right.
But afterwards, when KMT found the political market there, then KMT changed the policy. So basically, I think that we have a very strong internal pressure, internal opposition from within the society.
That's right.
And so I think this is, of course, there's something related to the election. And also, the election is also a very important occasion to mobilize public opinion.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't think this is a reality that we have to face. But the most important thing is we have to see the nature and the essence of this issue for Taiwan.
Yeah.
I think this is the rights of Taiwanese people. And also, this is also our obligation to be a member of the international organization.
That's right. And President actually wrote a letter to the Secretary General of the UN, Dr. Baum, in July. And as a result, Secretary General Baum refused to accept Taiwan's application. How do you read the UN's response? Do we expect that UN will respond in that way?
You mean United States?
United Nations. Sorry.
United Nations.
Yeah.
Actually, that is Mr. Baum's individual reaction. It is not the UN's reaction. And as a matter of fact, after our Taiwan's protest, Mr. Baum also changed the tone. But I think the decision has anger and also upset a lot of countries, including United States, EU, and Japan. Yeah. So afterwards, U.S. also wrote a formal letter to the UN to protest that what Mr. Baum said. Yeah. Because Mr. Baum said that Taiwan is a part of the people's PRC.
That's right.
And that's quite a very out of the topic.
Yeah, that's right. But the thing is, we have two separate issues. One is Taiwan's application to be a member of the United Nations under the name of Taiwan. And the second issue is to hold a referendum to mobilize support for Taiwan's UN membership. Two separate issues. Do you think that U.S. is angry about Taiwan's UN bid or about holding the referendum?
I think the United
States.
Yeah. I think the U.S. concern is to maintain the status quo across the Taiwan Strait, because the U.S. is afraid of changing the status quo, and because China has been threat U.S. that if Taiwan hold a referendum or Taiwan will apply for the UN, which will destabilize cross-strait relations. Yeah. And so this is why U.S. has such kind of concern. And on the other hand, because in the past, especially during KMT's regime, Taiwan has been very cooperative with the United States. Yeah. And so Taiwan would follow what United States say. But now it's different because the DPP government has more has another strategy to cope with United States. Yeah. And so I think now U.S. has encountered a new situation, and I believe that the U.S. has to accustom to this new change.
That's right. In the past few months, including in the case of OIE, WHO, and now the United Nations, China seems to be more aggressive now in recent years in trying to tightening the definition of so-called One China. Does the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also feel the same feeling?
Yeah.
That China is being more aggressive in recent years?
Yeah, almost in every corner of this international society, China tried to tie up the One China policy or One China formula. But I think on the UN issue, UN membership issue, and recently we just mentioned that Mr. Ban tried to misinterpret Taiwan status as a part of PRC, and after that, U.S., EU, and Japan tried very hard to demarch the UN, and saying that Taiwan is not a part of PRC. Yeah. So I think this is a very good opportunity for us to break the myth of One China principle or One China policy.
But there are rumors that China had been trying to push for new resolution in the United Nations, saying that Taiwan is part of the People's Republic of China. Because Taiwan has been saying that in the resolution 2785, the issue of Taiwan is not settled. It's an undecided issue. So how about now? We want to settle the issue. Do you think that China is doing...
there's a rumor about this, but I don't believe that China will propose this kind of question or this issue in the UN, because there is a theoretical dilemma. If China proposes this issue in the UN, it means that this issue has not resolved yet.
I see.
And as long as Taiwan is a part of China, China does not need to propose in this issue in the international community. Yeah. And so I don't think China will propose this issue to be discussed by the international community. So I don't think China will do that. And also, just mentioned that Mr. Pan Ki-moon proposed that misinterpretation of Taiwan also give China a kind of lesson not to discuss Taiwan issue in the international community.
Yeah. But as we know that in the past, only countries having the so-called One China policy. International organizations don't have the so-called One China policy. But gradually you will find out that organizations such as WHO and even UN begin to say that they have so-called One China policy, although there are different interpretations of that One China policy. But many international organizations begin to argue that they have the so-called One China policy. Do you think they are coming closer to China's position?
I don't think so. I think because the nature is already out there. The difference is only the expression or the strategy. Whether you take a clear-cut policy or ambiguous strategy. So I don't think that we don't lose, and also nothing to lose for Taiwan. And also I think no matter One China principle or One China policy, the most important thing is the value of Taiwan in the international society, or in terms of strategic value. Yeah. So I think name or the wordings are not so important.
Yeah. Now the UN issue seems to be a very controversial issue in the international community. But on the other hand, inside Taiwan, there seems to be some consensus, right, in terms of Taiwan's membership in the UN and so on. How do you read the development of Taiwan's public opinion in recent years?
In the past few years, I think Taiwan, the concept of Taiwan has been accepted by the public, the people. In the past, the Pembroke camp are very resistant to this concept. But after a few years, you see that more and more people accept this. This is why this referendum issue can be accepted in the public. You see the poll, you see almost over 70% of the support in the poll. In many polls, we show that.
That's right. So how about this so-called rising Taiwanese identity? Do you think that has to do with the so-called UN efforts in Taiwan?
Of course, I think the rise of Taiwanese identity or Taiwanese consciousness is very spontaneous. One partly because of the democracy, and partly because of the rise of China. The rise of China has pressed Taiwan to be identify itself. Because if you regard yourself as a part of China, then you will be the second citizen. So I think the Taiwanese people know that we need a self-identity. If we don't have a self-identity, we will lose the battle, this arena.
Dr. Ye, you are now working at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but I know you are an expert on Taiwan's cross-strait issues. You are a very famous sociologist in China's social developments. So when we come back, we'll talk about how these issues impacts on cross-strait relations. And let's take a short break. And stay with us, we'll be right back.